So this is the current project I'm working on in the shop, and this is just a section of it. It's going to be a large one of those electric fireplace built in, so it'll have bookcases on either side. And while this video is not about this piece, I'll have videos down the line about it. A conversation I had at the client's house led to this video. So just to start things off, because this is kind of a rinse and repeat process for this build, I'm going to be using my finger jointing jig that I made about 2 years ago. I know the exact date because I looked up a couple details in order to tweak the jig itself. So I have a build video on my channel. I have a 3/8 inch peg in there, which will give me 3/8 inch finger joints. And at the time I made it with detachable plates. So this is the size of the plate for anyone who's wondering. I made it with detachable plates so down the road I can make faces that will cut different size finger joints. And for this project I was going to need to do that, so I quickly pumped out 3 different faces. That's all I'm doing. You can see I'm going to be adding track to the back of it. I'm cutting my spacers, so I'm doing an 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, and a 1/2 inch. The 1/2 inch is for a different project, not for this. I figured I'd make it at the same time and then put it all together. I'm going through this very quickly because this is not a finger jointing build project. I already have one of those on the channel, but I wanted to show you how I went about doing it. The reason I started making these cutting boards is because at that client's house I was talking about how I make large scale custom stuff mostly, and I kind of flippantly made a comment saying I don't know how people can make just cutting boards because the price point of them is so much lower than something like a built-in. And after I left her house I couldn't stop thinking about it because I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. I don't spend a lot of time on those things. I'm on YouTube, but I noticed there are a lot of people that sell a ton of cutting boards and smaller projects. And I think I might be missing out on part of a market by just completely ignoring that for the past couple years. I made smaller stuff when I first got started. So this video is basically me designing and building a prototype for something I might eventually sell. It was an ideal that popped into my head on Monday of this week. I'm uploading this on Friday, so I pumped it out pretty quickly. And basically I'm kind of hoping the comment section turns into a conversation about people that do sell smaller things, if they're successful doing it, if they do craft markets, because I never feel like those are ever worth the effort, and basically people's experiences. So my ideal for this project and the kind of catalyst for it was I am a fan of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Halloween stuff is all over the internet now. It's a little early personally for me to be thinking about Halloween, but it does pop up on the internet quite a bit. And I thought I could kind of incorporate finger joints with the design of the character Sally and make some cheese boards. So what you saw was basically I'm starting this, like I said, as a prototype. Ideally, it would be great if I had finished products at the end of this, but I went into it kind of testing what I can do. And I wanted to take multiple pieces of scrap, put different size finger joints in them, and then join them into making one big cluster of a cheese board. So it would be pretty dynamic. I don't want them to be symmetrical and interesting to look at. It could also be a great way to get rid of scrap. You could see I'm using pretty small pieces. So I went through with my scrap pile and I basically just cut a bunch of similar size pieces to match together. And I started with the 1/8 inch finger joints, which I got to work pretty well. But I quickly remembered grain orientation, and with the 1/8 inch joints, they really only work accurately working on the end grain. Now for the other pieces you can see right now, I'm cutting them in the edge grain. Now if I was building a piece of furniture, I might not want to do that, but for a cheese board, it's not that big of a deal. And I basically just went through and I made a stack of 1/8 inch pieces, 1/4 inch finger joints, and then 3/8 inch finger joints. I'll glue all of these up, and then I'll just basically, it's going to be a very similar process to a cutting board. Honestly, the time making this was quite similar to a cutting board, where it's a step process. So one day you'll do a step, the next day another step, let the glue dry, and change around your pieces. So overnight, the thing I was thinking of joining these is going to get a little tricky because I can't really have any right angles because I don't want any seams. I want all my joints to be finger joints. So looking at all of my pieces laid out, I sanded these down in the morning. I knew I was going to have to kind of join them in a line and then join those two lines together. That was basically how I ended up solving that problem. So because I had some offcuts the day before, I basically went through and just shaved all these down. My original plan to have certain size pieces didn't work out perfectly, so I had a lot of kind of odd angles sticking out. And then just by color, I started clumping these together. So you can see I basically am going to have a line. So I'll join those three, I'll join these two, and then I'll join the two to the three. So that's how I'll be able to keep those continuous joints throughout the whole piece. Now I have a bunch of pieces that are different colors, but I also did a project not that long ago that was all walnut. I'm not a huge color person myself, so I wanted a solid color board. So I was having some problems with the 1/8 inch finger joints the day before, but I was able to make it work. And when I went to go join these, it just wasn't working. And part of the problem is I don't have a thin curved blade in my saw, but the blade's a Freud blade and it's a hair smaller than an 1/8. So my little spacer I had in there wasn't really the right size. And over the course of the whole piece, it was throwing them off. Now, I don't have key stock for that blade because, like I said, it's not a true 1/8. So begrudgingly, I kind of trashed the ideal of continuing with the 1/8 inch finger joints, and going forward, I was just going to use the 1/4 and the 3/8. So the 1/4, as you saw with my jig, I swapped out my wooden piece for a piece of metal key stock. You could buy that at Lowe's. It's going to be a true 1/4. It's really important that all these line up, and I noticed when I switched that out, it worked very accurately. So going forward for the 1/8 inch joints, I think I'm going to have to find a true 1/8 inch blade, and then I could use some aluminum bar for my spacer key, and I think it will work out fine. So as you can see, these I just put 1/4 inch joint finger joints in all of them because, like I said, at this point I wasn't using the 1/8 inch, and then my final plan was to use the thicker 3/8 inch to join the center. So this was pretty easy. Troubleshooting took all morning, but once I scrapped the 1/8 inch joints and just went with the 1/4, I was able to cut these pretty quickly and put them all together. So the next morning when I had to start joining some more pieces, I wanted to incorporate some angles. In order to do that, all I did was cut a slim angle on the first piece and then I mirrored it to the second piece. Now you could join finger joints with one straight edge and one angled edge, which I'll show a little bit later, but for my sides I want them to stay pretty flat so that I could join it easily to my other side. So by mirroring that angle on both pieces, it will still join in a straight line. So I kind of played around with that. Like I said, this is a prototype, so I was just kind of seeing what would work and what wouldn't work to get an idea going through it the next time, and then I could glue those up. Now that I'm going to be gluing the two big sections together, I'm actually going to do a more severe angle. I'm basically trying to keep these at least one dimension below 13 inches so I could send them through my planer and save a ton of time. So that was kind of the ideal with that as well. So then each time I change out the faceplate on my jig, I always do a test piece, and the 3/8 inch one I had in there to start is the one I've been using for 2 years. I've never had a problem with it. It's easy to line up because it's far enough away from the blade. I could use my tape measure. I don't even need a spacer. I popped this one in. My test piece was perfect. It cut all of these fine. So I really think I was just having an alignment issue with the smaller pieces. And then you can see this is the angled piece. I cutting it the exact same way on the jig, going down the line. Now the other big problem I have with this, which you don't see a lot of on because it doesn't show up on camera, I was having a huge problem with blowout on the back side of these. Now the dado stack I'm using I've had since the beginning of my woodworking career. I've never had it sharpened, so that's probably not helping me. But I think if I do these again, I'm either going to have to make them out of thicker lumber so I could just plane off that blowout, or buy a new stack. I'm usually using it to cut plywood, so it's not that big of a deal. And then you can see with these, like I said, these are about 13 inches wide, and those joints are staying true throughout the whole thing. The other problem I had was when I was cutting into finger joints on these bigger ones, it wasn't a problem. On the smaller ones, you could see there's holes in this piece. It was blowing out those joints. So that is going to be another issue I'm going to have to solve. The workaround I have for that, you'll see later in the video, I was just able to plug them. So then these are my 3 pieces, and when I originally started this, I was actually hoping to get 3 prototypes out of it, and I did. You could see there was a lot of waste because on parts that I did mess up, which happened kind of frequently, I just had to cut off the finger joints and start again. But by the end of this process, I had it dialed in pretty well. Then to finish these up, I'm just going to kind of square off the edges. I don't really want these to be rounded, but I don't want them to be symmetrical. So they're kind of oblong, odd shapes. And then parts that I couldn't cut with the mechanical saws, I had to saw off by hand, and those are basically going to be anything that's an inside corner. So like I said, the parts that blew out, because I have some scrap fingers, I just glued those into there. And then I did have some parts where there were hairline cracks. All I did for that is I keep sawdust around the shop of certain species so I can mix that with glue, get kind of a paste, and put it in there. Now looking at these, it looks like I had a ton to fill. I really didn't. I just like to slather it on there so I don't have to do it twice. Then I kind of crossed my fingers and sent this through the plane, and it actually worked out great at playing these down. And these are basically my 3 prototypes. So admittedly, there's a little bit more work to do on these. I don't think any of these is going to be something I'll be able to sell. If I eventually do start selling stuff, it'll probably be offcuts or seconds because there's a lot of imperfections in them. But I hope people got something out of this video, and genuinely would love to hear people's experiences with selling smaller stuff. I haven't done it in a while, and it would be nice to get a break from doing cabinet work. I thought this was going to take a lot longer than it did, but like I said, it really was pretty similar to making a regular cutting board.